Well, folks, the Buccaneers may very well be bringing in competition for Riley Dixon at the punting position, and it may be some very stiff competition at that. Shout out to Sleeper, by the way. More on them a little bit later on in this video. Okay, so here's what we have. Two tweets from Greg Auman. Now, this is being uploaded the morning after these tweets were sent out. These were sent out on September 29th. I'm uploading this video on September 30th, but the Bucs will be bringing in competition at punter after Riley Dixon has had two blocked punts in the last 3 games. I did a film study about that. Absolutely inexcusable. In fact, we take a look at Riley Dixon's statistics in his NFL career. Right now, he has 2 blocked punts this year. He has 9 overall in his NFL career. He had 2 in 2022. He had 1 in 2020, 2 in 2019, and 2 in 2017. So, a lot of blocked punts for Riley Dixon, okay? Not necessarily great. I talked about the contract situation with him. He did have $3 million guaranteed at signing, but there is a club option next year for his deal. He's technically only fully under contract for this season, okay? But back to the Greg Auman tweet, okay? A workout Tuesday should yield a practice squad signing, a potential elevation, and a more direct threat to Dixon's roster spot. That's a lot of more pointed terminology from Auman, in my opinion. Should yield a practice squad signing, a potential elevation, and a more direct threat to Dixon's roster spot. That is all very pointed, in my opinion. Among the punters the Bucs are bringing in for a workout Tuesday, Ryan Stonehouse, who led the NFL in punting in 22 and in 23, we'll talk about him in a little bit, with the Titans, and Brad Robbins, who is the Bengals punter in 2023, missed last year with a quad injury and did punt for the Bills in week number 1, by the way. We're going to start off with Brad Robbins because I do want to spend more time on Ryan Stonehouse in this video. Before we do, I do want to say shout out to Sleeper, the proud sponsor of this channel, folks. If you guys do use the code MrBucs, you will get a $100 deposit match up to $100. That is whenever you use the code MrBucs. Guys, go download the Sleeper app today and enjoy football the way it was meant to be. That is together. Now, back to what we were talking about. Let's discuss Brad Robbins so far, okay? He is pretty young, about to be 27 years old this upcoming, throughout the end of this season, and in 2023, he punted 76 times, 44.3 yards per punt. He had a 26.3 punt percentage inside the opponent's 20-yard line. Not bad under any circumstances, but whenever you look at Riley Dixon, at least in years past, he has had a better in the 20 percentage, but his overall yards per punt is actually pretty comparable. Again, Robbins was at a 44.3. So far this year, Dixon is at a 45.6, but that would actually be the worst yards per punt in Dixon's career with Robbins, okay? Obviously, no blocked punts in Robbins' overall NFL career so far to this point. In the one game he had with the Buffalo Bills, 4 punts, 39.5 yards per punt. Not necessarily great, all things considered, but he will be a notable name. Look at that mustache, by the way, on that guy. Phenomenal. Was actually a 6th-round draft pick out of Michigan with the Cincinnati Bengals, former Ohio guy. Spent a couple of years with the Bengals, of course, 2023 and 2024, and then was with the Bills for a little bit in this season as well. September 9th, he was released. So that is Brad Robbins, but I really want to focus on Ryan Stonehouse here. I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. I don't know why Ryan Stonehouse is available, but if I had to pick a punter for the Buccaneers to bring in, Stonehouse would probably be that guy. Only 26 years old, okay? He was a former undrafted player with the Tennessee Titans, spent 2022 to 2024 with the Titans, by the way. And whenever we take a look at what this young man has done in his early NFL career, it's pretty phenomenal. I mean, 2022 had 90 punts, averaged 53.1 yards per punt. That led the NFL. Had the most punting yards in 22 with 4,779 punting yards. By the way, he was a second-team All-Pro, if I'm reading that correctly. Yeah, he was a second-team All-Pro, dude. That's crazy, in my opinion. That's in his first year in the NFL. He was that second-team All-Pro. His 53.1 yards per punt, by the way, whenever we take a look at Riley Dixon, absolutely blows his averages out of the water. The highest yards per punt year Dixon had was 48.4. That was back in 2022. too. So in terms of just like pure power kicking ability, Stonehouse certainly has Dixon beat in regards to that. In 2023, he did also double it up with a 53.1 yards per punt as well. That still led the NFL in terms of the average. Again, still blows Dixon's yards per punt out of the water. Now, whenever we take a look at the in 20 percentage, in 2022, he had a 33.3 percentage of his punts inside the opponent's 20-yard line. Got a lot better in 2023 with 52.8% of his punts ending up in the opponent's 20-yard line. 2024, he did have 30.1% of his punts in the opponent's 20-yard line, 50.6 yards per punt. Still better than anything Dixon has put up in his career. Here's the concerning part. 2 blocked punts in 2024. 2 blocked punts. It's a little bit scary. It's a little bit scary, all things considered, right? So while Stonehouse certainly beats Dixon in terms of power, you do still have 2 blocked punts last year, which is a little scary right now. But Dixon already has 2 blocked punts this year, right? So it is an interesting thing to know. Whenever we look at the in 20 percentage as well, for Dixon, the best he had was a 43.1 percentage of his punts inside the opponent's 20. The worst was a 26.8. For Stonehouse, he's eclipsing that, right? The best is a 52.8, the worst a 30.1. So like overall in terms of in 20 percentage, in terms of yards per punt, overall net yards and things along those lines, like Stonehouse has Dixon beat in all of those categories, okay? Why is Stonehouse available, though? Because you take a look at this guy. He was the NFL punting yards leader in 22, second team All-Pro, PFWA All-Rookie team in 2022. He was an All-American in 2021 for Colorado State. 3-time first-team All-Mountain West from 2018 to 2020. Second-team All-Mountain West in 2021. He has NFL records. Most games averaging 50-plus yards per punt in a single season with 14. That's insane. Single season average yards per punt. He holds the NFL record twice in 22 and in 23. So why in the world is this guy available right now? Well, in March 16th of 2025, he signed with the Miami Dolphins. He was then waived on August 19th. I don't necessarily know how he did in terms of his preseason statistics. I don't know if we can necessarily look up those preseason stats. Maybe we can. Can we? Maybe? Let's see if we can look up those preseason stats. So it doesn't say anything about... Okay, here we go. So during his preseason in Miami, he had 3 punts for 130 yards. That was 43.3 yards per punt. During the 2024 season, when he was still with the Tennessee Titans in the preseason, he had 2 punts for 87 yards, an average of 43.5. So the preseason, his average certainly fell off. He still had a punt long of 50 yards in this past preseason. Dixon's longest punt so far this year is a 62-yard punt. Very impressive. Stonehouse... Good Lord, had long punts of 74 yards and 75 yards. That's just disgusting, by the way. Dixon hasn't punted a 70-plus yard punt since 2020, dude. That is nuts. That is absolutely nuts. I don't know, man. If they were going to bring in anybody, it should be Stonehouse, in my opinion. I think the dude is got an absolute booming leg. The blocked punts do worry me. I feel like if they do sign Stonehouse, maybe we can go back and take a look at those blocked punts and see what happened in those scenarios to see if it really was on Riley or really on Ryan Stonehouse, or maybe it wasn't. That'd be interesting. Let me know if you guys would want to see that if they bring in Stonehouse. But we'll see, man. Look, this guy's a former All-Pro, former All-American, things along those lines. Has NFL records, has an absolute booming leg. The blocks do worry me from 2024. I do want to mention that because that's the reason the Bucs are bringing in punters in the first place, is because it's like, hey, Riley Dixon, dude, why are we having blocked punts? What's going on here? But Stonehouse may very well, be that guy for them to bring in. Who knows? We're going to have to wait and see. But let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions about this. I'd love to hear about it down in the comments section below. Who do you want to see the Buccaneers possibly bring in at the punting position to challenge Riley Dixon? I'd love to hear it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope y'all enjoyed. We'll see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.